Hi, this is Charles. I've been asked to speak about pure O, or the form of OCD or anxiety disorder that causes people to have aggressive, sexual or inappropriate thoughts of any kind. Now obviously obsessive compulsive disorder is what it says it is. It's obsessive, it causes compulsions and it's a disorder. I dislike the term disorder because the term disorder tends to suggest that people are ill. People with anxiety disorder, OCD, phobias, agoraphobia, panic disorder, they're not actually ill. They have a condition which is caused by inappropriate levels of anxiety. So in other words, the anxiety response gets switched on and doesn't get switched off again. It gets reset at a higher level, benchmark level of anxiety. Now, with pure O, which isn't a form of OCD, by the way, and OCD isn't what you might think it was either. What it is, when people have high levels of anxiety, the brain and body prepare for action in the flight or fight response. And the flight or fight response causes the body to prepare itself physically for either fighting or fleeing a potential threat. So the muscles become primed, the cardiovascular system, the digestive system slows down. All sorts of changes happen that cause all of the symptoms that you'd associate with anxiety and panic. But with what happens in the subconscious mind is the body again is preparing for action. Now the way it does this is to ask lots of risk assessment questions. Now you may have heard this being referred to as what if questions. Now what if questions are questions which look at the most the most outlandish ultimate consequence of the situation you're in. So it searches into the depths of your creativity to try and make a risk assessment about what might happen. Now, under normal situations, for example, if you're driving along in a car and you turn a corner and you're on your own, it's night time, and you turn the corner and you see a car upside down on the road and there are two people strapped into it and smoke coming from it. You jump out of your car and you're immediately in the flight or fight response, which is appropriate because there's obviously a potential danger there to you and to the other people. Now at that point, your body springs into the flight or fight response and starts priming your body for action. So it makes your muscles stronger, it makes you lighter, it does all the things that need to happen in order to make you more efficient at either fighting or fleeing from the potential threat. But your brain starts asking questions. It has to do a risk assessment. And that risk assessment works by saying, what if I do this? What if I do this action and the car blows up? What if I get a stick and break the window and drag the people out? What if there's petrol leaking and it sets fire? Now this is happening at incredible speed in your subconscious, and your subconscious mind has just gone into absolute overload, gathering information from all of your through your nervous system, through your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your skin. It's making an assessment of the situation, and all the time all of your sensory organs are feeding back to your subconscious mind so that a sensible decision can be made very, very quickly about what you're going to do. Now you can see how sensible this is. You can see how physiologically this makes so much sense. So you get to the point where you've made your risk assessment, you understand the situation, you've assessed the area to see if there's anything that can help you, or whether there's petrol leaking and all those sorts of things, and then you take the most appropriate reaction that your subconscious has made the decision to take. And at this point your physical self comes into action. So if you've decided to pick up a log and break the window and drag the people out, that's what you do, and your adrenaline fuels the strength that you need, the agility you need, the speed and everything else you need to carry out the decision that your subconscious mind has made. Now then, in anxiety disorder, clearly you have the same level of anxiety all the time. So you have inappropriate levels of anxiety, so inappropriate levels of adrenaline in your blood that are preparing your body for that situation. Now let me explain. If, for example, if I open the door, if we're stood outside a room and I open the door and I push you into the room and there's a lion in there and I close the door behind you and you're in the room with a lion, straight away you go into the flight or fight response, because it's either you kill the lion or you die, or you somehow subdue him. So you have to make a very quick decision. Your adrenaline pumps around your body, your mind starts asking what ifs. What if I fight him? What if he eats me? What if he bites my arm off? What if I pick up this chair and smack him around the head? All of these questions are going on in your subconscious mind to make an appropriate decision about what to do to either kill the lion, pin him down, or to get out of the room, or whatever. But obviously, if I push you into that same room and shut the door behind you, and you're still feeling those senses of anxiety that you did before when the lion was in there, but there's no lion there, there's no real threat, you can understand how your levels of anxiety are inappropriate. So in other words, your anxiety is false anxiety, it's false fear, because you're sitting there now at your computer listening to me. You may or may not be experiencing high levels of anxiety. I'm perfectly calm. An anxiety disorder sufferer could be experiencing the symptoms and the feelings of anxiety coursing around their body, even though they know that there's no potential threat in their environment and nothing's going to happen to them. So, let's go back to the beginning again. You've got a situation where you've jumped out of your car, you can see some people in a car upside down on the road, you have to make some decisions, your anxiety levels go appropriately high, and you make the correct decisions, and not only that, but you take the right course of action at the time based on those decisions. Alternatively, you're sitting in your room, you're looking at your computer, you know there's no threat around, there isn't a burning car or a tiger or anything else, but you still feel anxiety. Now then, the anxiety that you're feeling now, sat at your computer, is inappropriate anxiety, but it's still having the same physical and psychological manifestations as it would if you were in that situation with the tiger or with the car. So you're sat there, your heart may be racing, your body's becoming primed for action. It could be that your stomach is churning, you've got IBS, you've got sweats, you've got palpitations, you could feel dizzy, you could feel numbness in your face and head, your neck, your shoulders, your left arm might feel heavy. All the things that you associate with anxiety disorder might be happening to you right now, sat in front of your computer. But they're inappropriate things. So, you're in two situations, one's appropriate, one's inappropriate. Now you're sat at home and in your environment, like you were with the car overturned in the road, you're looking around assessing the situation. So your nervous system and your senses were feeding back to you all of the data with which to make those decisions during an appropriate anxiety response. You've still got that anxiety response, but now you're sat at home in front of your computer. But your body is still primed and ready for action. There's still adrenaline in your bloodstream. But the other thing that's happening is that your mind is still looking for those what-ifs. It's still doing a risk assessment, but it's doing a risk assessment based on your environment. It's feeding back from your nervous system the things that you need to know about your environment to make a correct decision about how to react in the situation. But it's a non-threatening situation. You're sat there with your kids, you're sat there with your wife, your husband, you're sat there with relatives, you're at a party, you're at a wedding. But you still feel anxious. And all the time your brain is asking these what-if questions, doing these risk.